Well, welcome everyone to my Kenyan Indian living room from the 1980s. And this is really representative of my life growing up in the 1980s, and some of the objects and the items here and the newspapers are sort of reflective of what it was like for me and my family, along with some personal photographs and images. My brother that was in the football team, there's a hockey team there, and then there's sort of all sorts of family photographs and things like that. Not to mention my Kylie and Jason record, which is definitely mine because it's got my name on it. I made a point of putting my name in silver ink, I have to say. And so that's this living room area. And it's got very specific items that relate to the Kenyan community, such as this clock and the Maasai warriors over there on the speaker, as well as lots of people really like the fact that I've got a Shire horse. And they're like, well, where's the cart? There should be a cart with that. The sewing machine, which is reflective of the invisible economic contribution from the Asian women in the household who were sewing at home, as well as looking after the children. And this machine is positioned very carefully so that my mum could look at the television screen while she was sewing. And then over here is the recreation of my late father's electrical shop, which was also a Bollywood rental shop. And these were so important for South Asian communities at the time because there was little content available on the terrestrial channels for the South Asian community, so that the only way for them to access and see a part of their own culture and identity and their language was through the Indian films. And these existed in the 1980s, through the 90s, and then obviously when things changed and cable came along, the films no longer were relevant because people could just access everything quite easily. And this is a small selection of the films that we do actually have. I've got about 400 in total, along with the corresponding artwork. And that's the original shop sign of my late father's shop. And on the left-hand side, and then underneath it, his certificate, that is the original certificate for when he passed his electrical contracting. And that was the side of the business that actually really made a lot of money.
And may I ask, there was a lot more than just retail going on in here, I imagine. A lot of connections have been made between families and conversations had.
I would describe my father's shop as a place which was a cultural hub. People would come there and have conversations. Like I say, marriages were made and problems were solved. You know, people came and talked about all sorts of things, and which was very good. It was a very close-knit community of that time, and everyone helped each other. And then the walls, these wallpapers I've designed, and I have put myself into the old BBC test card there, because I always wanted to be that little girl that came on, and so I just made it happen in this one. And that's actually a reflection of me working in this space and thinking about the lack of representation on television at the time when I was growing up and what I didn't see.
Yep.
And Jambo, actually, for people that don't know, Jambo actually means hello in Swahili.
Okay.
And so it's the connecting point, and I wanted to always make people feel welcome and at home in this exhibition, which is actually more than an exhibition. It's where people come and talk about all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And through here, through the red curtains, we've also got a cinema screen. And with this cinema screen, it's really great for people who need to have the film subtitled or have visual impairments. It helps them to see this picture clearly.
Brilliant. Thank you.
And then I've got my teenage bedroom, complete with all sorts of posters, along with my national record of achievement. That is my actual national record of achievement, my school report. And then posters of, obviously Michael Hutchins and George Michael, Bros. And then to over to this side, sort of, more of the British Asian side of things, of all of the Bhangra bands that existed of that time, and the underground scene that developed as a result of not being able to go out at night.
Yeah.
So yes, all sorts of things there. And then, yeah, people find themselves drawn to all of these spaces at once. And the way that I've constructed this exhibition is that this is the masculine space of my father's space. The space, which is the living room, is really reflective of, it's a feminine space, I would say, and it's reflective of my mom, and that being very warm and cosy, and the lights were always on, and the house was always warm, and there was always food cooked. And the way that I've positioned this room is the child looking into both of these worlds.
Yes.
So
There's a lot of thought gone into it.
There has.
A lot of work, but a lot of thought.
And what I would say is that whilst it started off as an exhibition, what happens when people are in here is actually very special, because after COVID, I find that with me sharing the story of loss and of a time that's gone, and the whole exhibition is evocative because it doesn't exist anymore. But people come in and they talk about their own losses, and they talk about healing, and they talk about special moments in their own lives. And what I have found here is that this has also become a healing place.
And as you say, it's an immersive experience in more ways than just creativity.
Absolutely. It's a place to connect, to talk, and so many people are craving that right now. They've been so isolated and so lonely that when people come in here and they sit around, watch the same film together, and they talk about one thing that then sparks off many conversations, that's exactly what I wanted to do, and it's happened.
Wonderful. Thanks very much indeed, Dawinda. Thank you.